Hello everyone, Curtis White here from the Cannondale CyclocrossWorld.com team, and welcome to the Cyclocross World Cup in Overijse, typically known as the Druivencross, which, if you didn't know, Druiven, and I hope I'm saying this correctly, from Flemish into English is grapes, because right now we are in Belgian wine country here. So the finish was just at the lowest point of the course, which we just passed, and the start was just back there to our right, and we lead into this wall of a climb for the next about 300 meters or so. And at race pace, this effort took about a minute, and it was a bit longer in the pre-ride, so I'm speeding this part of the course up. And you'll see very quickly just the amount of elevation on this course and how heavy this effort will be over the course of the race. So pacing this effort well will be really important. So we just bend to the left, to the right, entering onto this cobblestone section here, and we're coming up to the highest point of the course. Right at the end of the straight, we're going to be taking a 180 degree to the left, and that's the Holeshot. And on these bumpy cobblestones, we're really jockeying for position already after that max effort from the start. So 180 to the left, immediately into the pits. This is kind of a slight downhill pit, but I found that this was the pit to really exchange on, just in that you're able to recover. It's a bit faster, and you're going right down the hill into this rut, bending to the right. There's a little slide out there, and we're starting to see that we woke up to some snow on the ground, frozen ground, and we're waiting for it to really thaw out over the course of the day. So the course was softening up. A couple of ruts were getting burned in. Here I'm letting Joris Nieuwenhuis come by just to check out a couple of his lines. Here he's able to carry a little bit more momentum, go around the outside of that corner. I was testing out a different tire pressure, not quite able to get the traction there. This little bit up the hill turned into a bit of a run. So remounting, getting back up to speed. And then this next part of the course, you'll see there's some bending S-turns sweeping down the side of this hill. We're kind of into this giant bowl at this point. But there's this really greasy top layer and very slick underneath, where that part of the ground is still a little frozen. So this part of the course got very torn up, and that made it a little bit trickier to navigate. Here, a little bit steeper of a descent. You'll see a couple of these ruts really got nicely defined over the course of the race. This is an iconic part of the course that these ruts are probably here year-round. Onto the cobblestone, back up this climb. Be careful. Coming onto that pavement, there was a little bit of a lip that was starting to get exposed under that rut. A little potential for flat tires, but if you're able to handle the bike well, shouldn't be much of an issue. So try to carry your momentum well, get back up to speed, and this is a big part of effort in this course that you just had to gauge well. Here I'm all the way over to the left on this little curb, trying to get a little bit smoother of a surface. And with a heavy course like this, you'll find that you really have only so many matches to burn, and you have to really conserve your energy when you can. So have that composure to find that smooth patch, try to conserve, save a few watts, and save those matches for later in the race. So coming off this cobblestones, dropping down here, the line that I'm taking is bending a little bit more to the left here, setting up a little bit wider, but there was a nice rut being formed on the inside of that corner that dropped you a little bit more to the inside and cut that corner a little bit more, and you're able to maybe move up a little bit more, maybe one position, cutting that inside, but you carry a little bit more momentum, banging all the way around to the left. So again, sketchy descent here, a couple of routes that you have to navigate. I found that you're able to carry a little bit more momentum going all the way to the left, a little bit wider arc. Under this run up, again, speeding this part of the course up, in that there was a lot of running on this course, and it really tested how well-rounded of an athlete you were. And that's really all that cyclocross is how well-rounded of an athlete you are, how well can you do the running, the technical driving, and the power on the bike. So try to carry momentum around this corner. Another greasy corner, and you'll find that there are just a lot of these greasy corners that initially, the ruts were a little bit more difficult to form because we did wake up to that frost and snow on the ground, and the ground was a little bit more frozen. So I chose to ride Challenge Limas tires at 18-19 PSI today. But again, watch out for these small curbs or roots in the course. Just protect your equipment when you can. But you really needed that traction on these really slick parts of the course. So muscle the bike back up over that hill. A little bit of a moment of reprieve here. Some tight turns, right, left, bending to the right again, dropping down near the soccer pitch, onto the sidewalk here, and you're able to kind of spin up the gear quick, get back up to speed, and you're coming into another really heavy part of this course. So back onto the cobblestones just for a quick second, starting to go back up the side of the bowl, couple nice ruts were forming through these corners, bending to the left here, bending to the right. Over the course of the race, the ground softened up to where there got a really deep rut through that corner. And this part of the course got so heavy that we were running from that corner. And this run really is for the next 100 meters or so, really up to pit 2 at this point. So again, with there being so much running and such a heavy course, I'm speeding this part of the lap up. Really not much to it. We're bending to the left a little bit. We're going to bend to the right and then back up to the left towards pit 2. But over the course of this race, again, I'll keep saying this, but the efforts really added up, and you really wanted to be consistent through the course of the race and turn out some really fast lap times towards the end, because you'll see that there are a lot of riders that didn't pace the effort well and are falling back towards the end of the race in the final 3 laps or so. So coming by pit 2 here, I did a couple pit changes in the race on this side, but I found that I just didn't have the momentum coming up to pit 2. Changing a bike, remounting, and the hill still goes up all the way. So I found that I was able to recover a little bit more using pit 1. So we're going back down the side of the bowl here. A nice rut was forming here. Hooking up on that, bending to the right. This corner got very greasy, but again, the ground softened up a little bit towards the end of the race, and we were able to have a nice rut through there. Through this puddle. A couple of ruts were forming, but got very deep already. Coming into a very narrow part of the course. Not a lot of passing through this little chute of an area. Nice little hook bending to the left. Small off camber. Run up. Almost short enough to where you didn't have to shoulder the bike, but it's always good form to shoulder the bike in cyclocross. It's always a sign of being fresh or composed, and you can always see, especially if you're racing in a group, that if someone loses that composure or form, they're not shouldering the bike or doing good technique. So watch out for that little descent right there. There was a little staircase where we're passing by a little playground there. So just avoid that part of the course. A little potential flat spot, but we're all able to navigate that very easily. So again, hook up, greasy corner, run this little part of the course. And we're approaching really the last couple minutes of the lap. And this is not a very pedaling heavy part of the lap. This is where you really needed to be on top of it technically. There's a lot of greasy corners, a lot of ruts that you really need to nail. So we're bending to the right here. Another good rut was starting to get formed right there, but not a lot of pedaling here. Compose, take a deep breath, carry your momentum up the side of this hill, a little off camber, cause a little trouble. So this next part of the course, it turned into an eventual run, but I'm going to experiment a little bit in this pre-ride lap, go all the way wide, try to get some traction and ride up the side of this. The tires very quickly started to slide, so it was very clear that this was going to turn into a run-up. And really early on, from that point where we took that left with the rut, heading down the hill, we started running at that point. So, quick remount here, and we're coming into the chute, and we're really a couple hundred meters from the finish line at this point. So watch out, a couple roots under that mud, but a couple nice ruts started to form. Bending to the left here, be careful. That mud on that greasy concrete there really could create a couple problems if you came in with a little too much momentum and you started to let the wheel slide. Just be careful there. Some bumpy ground. Now we're onto this gravel sidewalk type of area. Be careful, protect the equipment. There are some large chunks of gravel. You don't want to be pinch flatting, or you just want to protect the equipment. So bending to the left, some deep mud, a couple curbs, quick hop. Very easy to notice those. Bending to the right, very greasy last couple corners of the course. Very few riders were coming into this finish line to a sprint. So coming into the last final 2 turns, left and then another left onto the finish straight. And that's the course. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe and share with your friends, and you can visit curtisjwhite.com/inthered for more content. Take care, stay healthy, keep riding, and we'll catch you next weekend at the World Championships in Ostend.